Hi, my name is Dwight Gillespie, and this is the Change Your Life channel. I want to welcome you back. As you said, we've been on a little hiatus, and we're back now. This is Change Your Life. If you like this, you can subscribe, you can comment, you can go ahead and share it with your friends. Like it, dislike it, whatever you want to do. Just get engaged. Let me know what you think down below. We do answer all comments, and this is what we do. And on this channel, what we do is we try to give you practical information on how to live a better life. And it's such a fact, look, the self-help industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And if people were really employing what Tony Robbins and these guys are saying, right, these guys would be out of business, but they're not. And the thing is, to be honest with you, you can come to places like this and get a lot of the same information for free. But I'm not of that ilk, really, because I don't believe in these quick changes, right? I don't believe that you become an absolutely different person overnight. I do think that you can make major changes very quickly, as I say all the time. In the last video, I said, as a matter of fact, I went from a using addict to a non-using addict in one day. I went from a smoker to a non-smoker in one day. I went from a person who consumed whatever he wanted to a person who didn't in one day. But those changes took time to get up to that point. And in our last video, we talked about the 51-49 principle. It's a great video. You may want to go check it out. It's a great thing to do. Today, what I wanted to talk about is another thing that's very important in my life, and that is maintaining a positive, optimistic attitude, and an outlook on life. And I tell you what I mean by that. It's really simple. I have a lot of friends that I'm in the recovery. I don't want to say I'm in the recovery neighborhood, right? That we have this. It's a recovery family, I guess you would call it, right? I'm in recovery here in New York City, and I go to a lot of recovery meetings. And I have a lot of people text. We text every day. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? Blah, 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 all that stuff. And there are a couple of people who text me, and they're well-meaning people, right? And they say things that are meant to be optimistic. But when you look at it, it really isn't. And they're the people that'll constantly send me things like, hang in there, Friday's coming, or, hang in there, you've survived 100% of your worst days, and, this too shall pass, and all these other great things that are great in particular moments. But when people send me that same stuff every day, basically what they're saying is that, for me, life is meant to be survived. That life is just something that you endure, and then it's done. Then they plant you. I read a great book. It was, and I always butcher her name, which bothers me because it was a really good book. And her name, I believe it's been Hope Jahren, I think is. She's from Minnesota, and she was like one of the first female botanists in the U.S. She was a PhD in botany, and she had it was just a little part of the book, but it's just stuck out in my mind all these years later that I read it. I probably read it 10 years ago, but she was talking about spirituality, right? And she says she wasn't a particularly religious person. You got to read the book. It really is. I highly recommend it. It's called Lab Girl is the name of the book. And I'll plug it here because it was a really good book. I enjoyed it. It was thoroughly entertaining. Anyway, so she talks about this idea at one point, and I'm going to paraphrase it because it's the way I remember it, I don't remember it word for word. But basically she said that every day she would pray and to whatever. She wasn't a religious person, much like myself. I have a deep belief in God, but I don't really practice any religion. I don't have a particular religion. I just believe in this thing that's out there that I call God because it's easier than trying to do this and explain all that to you, But anyway, so she said that every day she used to pray for strength, right? And this is getting to what I'm talking about. Every day she prayed for strength, give me strength, give me strength, give me strength. And that's all well and good, and that sounds good on the face of it. She said, basically one day she's sitting there, she's in Hawaii. She worked at, I think it was the University of Hawaii. Her husband worked at the university. He was a mathematician, I believe, or maybe something else in the sciences. But he worked there, she worked there. They both had great jobs. They had a great place. She's watching her son in the Hawaii afternoon with the sunset going down, and she realized just how blessed she was in this life. That life was so good for her, right? And she's basically said that in that moment she realized how negative it can be to pray for strength every day. Because when you pray for strength every day, it gives the implication that there's always something to overcome. That there's always some obstacle in front of you that, I need to pray to get through this. I need to pray. Instead of saying, you know what? life is pretty sweet and I'm living pretty well, and it's a way of just changing the phase, right? 180 degrees, in electronics. I studied electronics for years. I was in electronics for 30 years of my life. So I talk about phase shifting, right? And you switch that phase 180 degrees and you look at this from a very different angle. And you start to say, wait a second, and I say, if you woke up this morning, right, in a warm, dry place, right, with a good roof over your head, and you were able to get up and take a hot shower, right, put on some clean clothes, have some good food to eat, or just food to eat, you're doing better than literally hundreds of millions of people in the world. That those things people go to sleep every night with want of those very basic necessities. And this is basically, to me anyway, the way that I took what she was saying, So here she was with all of this beauty around her and all of these blessings from whatever you want to call it, right? To be blessed, to be able to have a mind that would enable you to go to school and get a PhD in something like botany, which is something that she loved as a kid. I read the book and it was something that she took to from the time she was a child. And to be able to do that and to pursue that and to have this, that we can do these things in life. And so to sit there and constantly say, I need strength. Hang in there, man. You're going to get through this. And yeah, and sometimes you need that. Granted, because things are going to happen, because of life on life's terms, we call it, right? Where people, unfortunately, we're mortal. People are going to die. People are going to get sick. We're going to fall out of favor with people we love. They're going to fall out of favor with us. We're going to fall out of favor with them. These things are going to happen, and we're going to have to deal with it. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, right, the big picture of life, there'll always be things that you can focus on and say, this isn't going my way. This isn't good. And it's easy to get lost and lose all of these other things that are going on in your life that are positive. All of these other really good things. So when you sit there and go, hang in there. And my favorite is, you've survived 100% of your worst days. You've survived 100% of your best ones too. The fact of the matter is, most of the time that we spend is innocuous. It's doing stuff like this. It's watching videos. It's eating lunch. It's driving to work. It's whatever. It's working, sleeping. All of these things, and all of these things are mundane. And you can decide for yourself. And we've talked about this before, right? You can decide for yourself, what do you want to drag into those mundane moments, right? When you're driving, for me, it was the Van Wyck Expressway. I worked out at JFK for the phone company here. Driving out on the Van Wyck Expressway every day. I work 4.5 miles from my house, and it could take me 45 minutes to go that 4.5 miles. You got time to think, And now I could either sit there and lament the traffic. I could lament my situation. I could go over an argument that I had with people the night before. And I could go over an argument that I had with somebody 20 freaking years ago, right? And I would do all of these things. And it took a lot to say, wait a second. I can also go over that great trip I took to Scotland and the great people that I met there when I went, right? I can also bring those ideas and those thoughts and those memories into those innocuous, mundane moments when I'm really thinking of nothing. I can bring a lot of good stuff. I can bring the day my son was born, right? I can bring that into those innocuous moments. It's what you choose to plug into. It's how you choose to look at things. And you can look at life as a survival. Oh, it's survival. Oh, God, survive. Or you can look at it as like, hey, man, I'm living a life. I may not be able to do exactly what I want every minute of the day, but I got to tell you something. There's a lot of minutes in the day when I'm doing exactly what I want to do, whether it's reading a book, whether it's talking to a friend. I don't watch TV anymore, but I got rid of that a while ago. But anyway, it's whatever you like to do. And when you get to do that, you're living a really good life. And like I said, even if it just comes down to the basics of my idea is, even on my deathbed, I'll have things that I can be grateful for. And that's what she said. She started praying for gratitude, to be grateful for these other things in her life. Because even on my deathbed, I'll be able, if my friends are healthy, if I die, having people who will mourn my loss, who will say he was a good guy, he died and it's a shame. That's a plus. Not everybody gets that. Not everybody gets that. You get the idea of what I'm saying here. And what I'm saying is like, look, I personally, it behooves me, right? It does me great, a great service to be able to look at my glass as half full, to always look at it and say, you know what, there's always something in my life to be grateful for, even if it's just the roof over my head, the clothes on my back and the food in my stomach. I can be very grateful that I have these things, because so many people don't. And to share that gratitude. And through that, I like to think anyway, I have a very generous spirit, because I know how fortunate I am. And when I remember how fortunate I am, I remember how important it is for me to share that good fortune with other people. And I do that as much as possible. Anyway, that's the Change Your Life for today. My name is Dwight Gillespie. Again, please go ahead, subscribe, hit that like button, share it. By all means, comment. Again, and I always say, you don't think I know what I'm talking about? If you think that life, you don't think survival, let me know. Let me know. We can discuss it. We can have a nice intellectual discussion. Or at least on your part. I don't know about mine. But anyway, my name is Dwight. I want to thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. Be well. Bye now.